And we live.
Is this thing on?
It is on. Valentine. There you go.
I know. Are we live?
The ongoing series about the life of the people touched by the love of the Pacific. Here are their stories. This is Highway 54.
What up? What up? Happy Valentine's, everybody.
Happy Singles Awareness Day, man.
I know,
there you go,
man.
Phil.
I wasn't
There you go.
I wasn't even sure that we would do this. I was like, you know what? I got nothing to do. Kellen, what you got?
Brian got shit to do. I just got off the mountain. That's my love right there. I'm loving that mountain. So.
Man, I'm super jealous. I see all your pictures all the time. I really gotta straighten out my ankles and stuff, man. But bro, we've got a special guest in the house, man. I've been trying.
I don't know about that, man.
He is AFN veteran buddy of Kellen and myself. Also, we've done projects back in Japan. Also from Yokota. Please, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Filsner.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah.
You need to answer. This is where you need to have like the applause.
There you go.
On the fucking. Can you have an applause noise or something that
there you go.
Make?
You hear that? You want to cheer?
Oh shit! There we go. There we go.
Hell
yeah.
Now I'm feeling the love.
Oh man! So it's just the boys today. As you know, it's Valentine's, and I know everybody's busy doing their thing and doing their group on. Probably making babies or not making babies. What you gotta do?
Practicing.
Practicing.
Yeah.
So hopefully the rest of the crew will be back next week. I just want to also recognize, just a condolences to Susanna's family as they lost someone dear to their hearts, and so our prayers and thoughts go out to them. She tried to go on today, but said no, take your time. Make sure everything's good with you, and we'll see you when you're ready to come back. So. Prayers and condolences to Susanna and her family.
Man, nothing but positive vibes. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Well, it's Valentine, so of course, we'll do a little, themes of news and some articles about Valentine's, and of course, we got to Give Me Five. We'll talk about a little bit about Black History since it is Black History Month. So, did you hear about that gorilla hair girl?
Oh, listen.
Oh, man.
As Bill Engvall would say, man, here's your sign, man.
Yeah, so if you have not heard yet, Gorilla Glue hair mishap comes to an end. It highlights lack of awareness about black hair care. Really, to break it down, this girl wanted to lay down her hair I want to say she picked the wrong product because there is a Gorilla Glue for hair and not the Gorilla Hair in the hardware.
Right.
So she picked up the Gorilla Glue, the super glue for her hair, and it, well, the end of it all. And of course, people reached out to her. People were kind of empathetic. Some people were teasing her. A lot of which at the end there was a some news article, news followed her journey. So a lot of what do you call it, surgeons, the plastic surgeons reached out to her to do it for free, and it turned out well, I guess, for her.
Floyd, it's Black History Month, bro. You should have picked another topic on this one. I'm just gonna say, what I'm saying, it's not really a good look to be, making a joke of this black woman in Black History Month, bro. Of all times.
I will say this though. I saw a photograph of inside of Walmart, right, where they had on like the end cap, like one of those displays on the end cap of Gorilla Glue in the shampoo aisle. So I'm like,
see, I mean, there we go.
And there is, I guess, like some kind of like gorilla themed hair gel floating around out there too.
Yeah, there is.
So, I mean, she picked up the wrong stuff. Now, at the same time, like I've worked with Gorilla Glue in the past, I feel like when you squeeze that out and it doesn't look anything like hair gel, like maybe you stop and look at the package or something. But yeah, I mean, I feel bad for her, but at the same time, it is yeah, what do you do?
Listen, that Black Queen made a mistake. Shit happens.
Yeah,
it's being correct. No, but honestly, no, real talk though. The only thing I am gonna say on that shit is if you watch the first video that she posted when she's like, y'all, she's like, my hair been like this for a month. And like I ain't gonna lie. I saw that video, dog. I lost my shit. Like, it's funny as fuck. Make people go look it up themselves. But
the question, the positive side is it highlights the struggle and challenges of
absolutely
textured hair. What is good hair, and how far do not just black, I mean just ethnic hair where the hair is curly and they want to make it straight to emphasize that's more beautiful than the regular natural. So it just emphasizes like, hey, there is a challenge and there is a problem where they think that to have that kind of hair doesn't mean you're not makes you more beautiful. So no, man, it's really up to you as a.
Historically, they've made us believe that the curly hair or nappy hair is less desirable, and so it's got a long group. I mean, long history of that, of having women, especially women of color, doing things like you said to straighten out their hair and making them think this is what beauty is, instead of letting them embrace their natural beauty. Which, shout out to the fucking Air Force for changing their standards.
I was about to say that, man.
With the hair, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to them for that, because that change was for so long, black women were targeted with the way the rules were written before. So the Air Force did make a change on that. So I want to give them kudos, you know what I'm saying, to my former branch, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Air Force for doing that, because now black women have options like they didn't before. So
I was about to bring that up. I'm glad you brought that up, man. That's and it's not just black women; it's all women now, because a lot of women, they had to pull their hair back in that tight bun, right? So they would lose their hair in the front, or get like migraine headaches. And so a lot of women in the military, like, this is going to help extend their careers because they're not going to have to deal with all that garbage anymore. So it was just a good move all around for all women serving in the Air Force, for sure.
It was good for women all around, but I will say there was a number of times where I'd heard stories about black women being written up for having certain hairstyles. You didn't hear about that with white women. You heard that about with black women in particular being written up. So that's what I'm saying. It is a move for all women for sure, but in particular for black women to be able to have those options and not be getting in trouble for it, for breaking AFIs and all that shit. So
I remember. One of the most popular styles. One of my tech sergeants at the time when I was airman, she had like that wrap. The hair was wrapped like that. She was kind of talked to, but not kind of talked to, and she's always had that. But it is a step forward for all women, but especially for women with curly hair. they have options now, and now they can wear that ponytail to the mid shoulder, natural hair color, natural, not pink, not blue, not green.
Right.
Can be used as it gives them more diversity. And then now they talked about men. They might. Is it they could have beards, or is that on the table?
Yeah, I feel like it's still a long way off, man. It probably is going to happen, and then I'm just going to be like, the fuck, man. but yeah, I feel like we're still a ways away from that, and they use the excuse of, oh, it's a safety thing, you can't wear a gas mask, or you can't wear an SCBA if you're a firefighter. But that's not 100% true, because there are ways you can make it work if you need to. So
we're like the only country that doesn't rock beards, the military. You know what I'm saying? You go to every other fucking country. When I was in Afghanistan, all the other countries, they were rocking fucking beards, and that shit looked dope as hell. And here we were looking like little boys, all shaven up and shit, and these motherfuckers are like grizzly woodsmen and shit.
Yeah. Well, it's also, look at the special forces guys, those guys, they were rocking beards. So the notion where, you won't have a gas mask fit. I mean, you as a person would know, like, okay, you have a beard, put on a gas mask. Okay, so what do you got to do? You got to make it tighter. You got to adjust it, whatever you got to do.
Right.
So
just put a little Vaseline on there.
Whatever you got to do, man. So, things are changing, man. Things are changing. All right, so they're in North Carolina. I'm not really totally surprised about this, but this is good marketing for them. Sheriff office offers Valentine Day special for exes. So a sheriff office is giving people a chance on Valentine's Day, which is today, of course, to show their former lovers they're still wanted by turning them in with outstanding warrants. If you do, they offer you limited edition platinum bracelets, free transportation with a chauffeur, with a one-night minimum stay at a luxurious 5-star accommodations, and tops it off with a special Valentine's dinner.
For snitching.
Yeah, for snitching.
Turning on your ex.
That's fucked up. That is fucked up, but I like it.
That was the one time I really liked North Carolina. So yeah, that was good. Good on them.
So would you do that? Would you exercise that right? Do you have an ex that you would do that to?
If she was a felon, yeah, I would.
Like just any of your exes, or is there one in particular that comes to mind?
No.
What's her name? What's her name? Let's go.
None of my exes are felons.
Time her out right now, man.
What about you, Phil? If you had an ex?
You know what? I think for me, it would have to be one of those things where they would have had to treat me like real bad, right? Like real bad. But like I could see, somebody who had an abusive ex, if they, especially if the warrant was related to that abuse or something like that. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't judge. You
guys are some fucking snitches, man. That's what I just heard. No, but you know what? Honestly, like, I got one. I do got one. I would tell her ass. Yeah, I would turn her ass in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Lock her up and throw away the key, bro.
Yeah.
Hopefully they tase her ass too.
No, I think I would think hard about it, but I probably wouldn't.
He said I'd think hard about it. Damn.
Yeah.
I don't have any girlfriends that like I would any exes that were that terrible,
Yeah.
There's some that are crazy, but I mean, crazy is crazy. Whatever.
You probably drove them crazy though.
Probably. Yeah, probably it.
All right. Well, this week was pretty quiet, except for one thing, and we already knew the outcome of that. And I've been really quiet about it because our the president right now is doing his job, and she is doing her job too, and so we trust to do the procedures. As military folks or anybody working in a corporate setting, it takes time to set precedents, to change things, fix things that's broken. And so, I've been moving on in my life and doing other things. Every so often I'll tag Kellen and throw some articles here and there. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy where we're going to. And we just kind of, basically what we're saying is that during the second impeachment, things went through their way. The managers, what do you call it? Not the defense, but the
Well, the impeachment managers, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Impeachment managers,
prosecution, I guess, in this case.
Prosecutors, yeah. They laid out a great what do you call that?
Case
against them. I'm tongue-tied right now, but I'm happy with it. It is what it is, and we kind of knew what it was going to end at the end of the day, and we trust the process, and that's how it is, and we move on.
Yeah, I can't say that I wasn't disappointed, but I also wasn't surprised by that one, man. I mean, I knew that they weren't going to get 17 other Republicans to get on board, but they got 7.
Shout out to the 7, man.
Yeah,
shout out to the 7.
I expected.
Yeah, and motherfucking is it Merkowitz? Is that how you say that last name? Susan Collins, Murkowski. Susan Collins and Murkowski are the most consistent ones throughout the whole thing. And I know, I'm sure Republicans want to call them rhinos or, Republicans in name only or whatever, but they've been on that kind of John McCain shit where they're not afraid to go against their party. Like, and shout out to both of those women because they've been consistent. Mitt Romney, he was one of the 7. Shout out to him for doing that, but he's a flip-floppy, wishy-washy motherfucker already. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But Susan Collins and I'm fucking her name up,
Murkowski.
Yeah, man. Shout out to both of those women because they've been consistent throughout. They've been calling Trump on his shit. So mad love for those two.
Yeah, there's a few of them, and there was one Ben Sass from Nebraska who I don't agree with on a lot of stuff.
Right.
But he at least he got into Congress because he wants to pass legislation. I think he's been frustrated, and he was getting censured in his home state by the legislature there, and he could potentially face a primary challenge over this. So even the people that maybe haven't been in the anti-Trump camp quite as hard the whole time, they still deserve not a lot of credit because it took them way too long to do this, but at least hey, you eventually grew some stones, right? So for some
better
of them,
late than never, I suppose.
Yeah.
And then you have the former Nikki, what's her name?
Nikki Haley?
Yeah. Trying to turn, come on.
Her and Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell, his speech, he said, yes, the president, he did do this, he did incite all this shit, but he voted against it. Which
freaking turtle man.
But it's that dude, all them people, they want to do just enough to say, well, look, I was against that shit, but then they don't want to buck it too much because they don't want to, piss off the Trump
voters.
And that's the thing. Until you get the party shifted to where people aren't afraid of his voters voting them out in a primary anymore. I mean, you're going to be stuck with a lot of these guys that are just towing the line enough to keep their jobs, which is pretty fucking cowardly.
And at the end of the day, man, I'm not asking for these people to just become liberals or be Democrats or anything like that. It's just let's be reasonable, right? Don't sit there and talk about
goddamn thing.
right. That's it. Simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, right is right and wrong is wrong. It's not like religion. It's not about it's by the law. What did you see? What did you experience? You were there. You were at the Capitol. You experienced if one of those people caught one of you guys. What would have happened? They know in their hearts that they're playing the politics, and you see live. It's good and bad that we're going through this because now people are more paying attention that their votes actually matter, and that you need to pay attention to these motherfuckers behind closed doors or whatever, or on C-SPAN because you're not watching and not caring enough to see what they're actually saying yes to, no to, or what they're vindictive about. We can see that you caught red-handed, but you're voting against that. You know what I'm saying? So the whole process is actually what do you call it? Eye opener for a lot of us that are not very political in a sense.
Now, what about? Oh, sorry, go ahead, Kellen.
No, you go. You got the floor, Phil.
So what about these? There's a group of Republicans, about 120. None of them are elected or major players, but there's a group of Republicans who are talking about maybe we need to create our own party, a more center-right Republican Party, and get away from. And I was if they do, more power to them. But I don't know how effective that's going to be, or how many people are going to get to come over to their side. I guess we'll find out exactly how much of the Republican Party is like fully radicalized if they're successful in doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's enough moderate Democrats and moderate conservatives that it could be successful. I mean, if they're going to do it, this would be the time to do it,
right?
Because what we know is the Republican Party is no longer like what we've known as the Republican Party. And even though I've been so far removed from that party, it's at the same time, it's like I still had respect for the past Republican leaders. You know what I'm saying? And now it's getting to a point where it's like, so even when they're talking about Trump, like, oh, you know, his words didn't incite a riot. These are the same conservatives that spent the 80s and 90s trying to send hip hop artists, rappers to prison for their lyrics because they were saying it incited violence or it incited police shootings and shit, right? So how can you can have a rapper, you know what I'm saying, who makes a song, and then if somebody Tupac, for instance, he had a court case. A kid went out, he shot a cop or two or whatever, and he later said, you know, before he did it, he was listening to an old Tupac song from like 92, 93, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they tried to try Tupac in court for this, you know, and it's like, how you going to go out? And these were conservatives. These were Republicans at that time that were all about it. But yet these same people now, they say the president's words, well, you know, that was all on them. You know, he shouldn't be held responsible for that. But a hip hop artist, though, should be. So, again, just more of the double standards and bullshit. And I realize, like, I'm bringing up something from the 90s, but still, it was conservatives. It was Republicans who were so hard on that.
No, because, I mean, you make a good point, because it was the same thing with whether it's like video games, like shooter games, like what was the one that was really big in the 90s? I can't think of.
Doom.
Well, Doom, but there was another one.
Mortal Kombat?
But like before Call of Duty. I can't remember the name of it. Or Marilyn Manson. Like kids are listening to Marilyn Manson, especially like after Columbine.
Yeah.
Like, that was the big thing. Oh, Marilyn Manson somehow brainwashed these kids into shooting up their school. And it's all this moral majority folks that are doing that stuff. And
think about like NWA. Remember when they first started, and certain cities they were banned to sing that one song, you know, "Fuck the Police,"
right?
And because it was incite. So basically, what they're saying is on the Republican side, or you know, or the religious side, that words matter, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if words matter, what are we talking about here?
Right.
You know, why are you silent about it? Why are you against it? I don't understand. So, to me, words matter. You know, in our profession, and of course in music, I mean, words do matter. And you can, you know, I had that one analogy where, you know, Hitler never put anybody in a gas chamber. You know, Osama bin Laden
never flew a fucking plane, right?
Marilyn Manson, he didn't physically kill somebody, you know, that we know of that he was charged with, right? So their words matter, and they were charged or in jail or whatever.
Charles Manson, yeah.
So the argument of saying, oh, you know, he said peacefully, he said fight, but you know, more for, you know, it's a metaphor or whatever. He goes, no, man.
He's a fucking cult leader. Let's be honest, right? I mean, his most diehard followers are basically cult members, right? And they'll do anything he tells them to, or anything they think he's telling them to. So
when you hear somebody say Donald Trump is the greatest president ever, which I've seen people say that, that's when I instantly, it's one, like, that's a whole nother level of lunacy. Because it's one thing to say, hey, I like the guy, I support him, whatever. Like, okay, I get it. You're a little racist or fully racist. Whatever. I understand that. But when you're like, he's the greatest president ever, and they're really, they mean that shit. And you're like, this dude is a con man. He's a con artist. And it's baffling. And you know what? Honestly, like, I want to get to a point where we're not even talking about this fucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, truly, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to put him on the back burner. And even with this whole shit with him getting acquitted, it's like, you know what? Whatever. Let him run in 2024. The motherfucker will be 80 years old. You know what I'm saying? Even more fucked up and senile. You know, if he wants to run, or if his fucking cokehead son with them big ass dentures decides he wants to run, whatever.
Yeah.
They're clowns, bro.
Yeah. I'd rather he not be able to run, honestly, but
it is what I think.
I don't think he has very many political allies left. Obviously, like I think a lot of people are turning against him, and I mean, the fact that 7 Republicans turned against him shows that he's losing a little bit of his power. At least, you know, they're not so afraid of him. Either that, or he finally pushed them to the point where they're like, okay, we really got to do the right thing here. You know, so that could also be the point.
I think at the end of it all, you know, like I said, I really want to stop talking about the situation, but you know, every so often we'll talk about it. But one thing I think at the end of everything, if you look at all what's been happening the past 5 years, more people has been involved with the government in politics than ever before. You know, they're at least aware. They understand. Now they know the process from from November 3rd, how long it takes to count all the votes. You know what I'm saying? So all that information, people didn't really know what the process is. All they know is, oh, November 3rd, they announced a winner, but technically there's a lot of votes, like, you know, the absentee votes, the votes coming in that came in before the deadline. They still got to count those. How the process, how they announce a winner, what happens on, you know, January 6th, what happens on January 12th. So this whole process, a lot of people are getting involved, getting to understand. So now they're more aware how to vote, right? How to vote, when to vote, and who to vote.
And you brought up Stacey Abrams before the show when we were just sort of chatting casually, Floyd, and you know, she's a great example of somebody who she's a superhero. She's a rock star. I freaking love that woman.
Absolutely.
She got a lot of first-time voters in Georgia to show out and show up and vote. And that's how, I mean, Georgia, which, you know, had been like a deep red state for years, right? And suddenly, you know, it flips blue, and it's not 100% because of her, but she was a big part of that.
Shit,
and
huge.
Getting people involved. And so if there is like a silver lining, I think it's that people are more, especially young people, are more politically aware. They're registering to vote, and they're going out there and they're making their voice heard at the ballot box instead of just you know, talking about it on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. So,
yeah. Overall, guys, I think we're more in tune into our leaders and our politics, and make sure you guys vote. You know, at every level of the government, you gotta vote. And don't just vote Republican. Don't just vote Democrat. Vote for the person that aligns with what you believe in and who you are, who they are as a person. And you know, it'll be a long time coming where we get rid of the Republican Democrat majority, and you know, and just vote for the person. Does it make sense?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, because regardless of if they have a D or an R behind their name, if you know they're a fucking sneaky, scaly, slimy, weaselly motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? Don't cast your vote for that person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care who they are. If you just know they're just not a good human, like not a decent human, don't fuck with that. Don't rock with that in any way. You know, I wouldn't. I mean, if a person like Donald Trump was running as a Democrat, there's no way in hell I would cast my vote. You know, but we got to watch too, like how we villainize some of these people, because I remember in the past, George W. Bush. I remember at one point in time, I felt like he was the worst person on earth, right? Like, admittedly, I'll say that. Like, I thought George W. Bush was a piece of shit. And then later on, I come to realize, like, you know what? Like, yeah, he might have made some mistakes. He might not have been the smartest president that we've ever had, but he wasn't like a bad person. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't like a bad guy. And so then when you get an actual bad guy, then you realize, like, oh shit, it's kind of like, you know, like dating or something. Like, you know, you sit there, you think like, oh, this person, like, oh, fuck her, this was terrible, blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, y'all break up, and then the next one you're like, oh shit, I fucked up. I fucked up. That's how I felt. You know, George W. Bush was a bad date, and then Donald Trump came along, and you're like, fuck, this was a nightmare. George W. Bush wasn't really that bad.
Yeah, he wasn't.
And I think part of the reason, you know, that we wound up with Donald Trump was that there was a certain amount of vilifying people, you know, and treating them like bad guys. And so, you know, people on the far right started to feel disrespected, and especially people in like places where I come from, which is a kind of small town or small towns in like Missouri, for example, feel like they're getting crapped on, right, by college educated people on the coast, and it created this resentment. And that's a lot of how we got Trump to begin with, was this sort of, I guess, looking down on people for voting for Bush.
Partially agree. The majority of the reason we got Donald Trump is because we had a black president. And there was a number of people in this country that didn't like the fact that a black man was leading the country. And they'll never fucking admit that shit. But deep down, that's where it really came from, period.
Yeah.
That's just keeping it 100. That's keeping it 100. There's a large, probably 74 million at least, that felt like a black man leading the country for 8 years, because they really can't tell you. They talk about, he was terrible. It was terrible. It's like, bro, okay, so tell me, what was so bad during that time? Because we were in a recession. We were in a catastrophic economic condition whenever he came into office. And in the last 3 years, bro, we was on the up and up. And it just rode right into Trump's presidency. And people were acting like it just suddenly got better under Trump. Like, nah, bro, your 401k plans, all that shit was going up. The economy was already getting better under President Obama. So we had this conversation before.
I know.
You're right.
He wasn't the perfect president, but as a leader, as a man, as a father, as a son, I respected him, and he wasn't vindictive. He was just a great man all around. Do I agree with every policy? No, man. There's some things. But it's like every commander, every CEO, or they make this like, why did you do that? I don't understand. But they have their reasons, and that's what it is, And you hope that doesn't affect you too much, down the road.
We have to chill on the absolutisms, though. We feel like we have to say everything we agree with. We don't agree with everything with our significant others, with our parents, with our brothers or sisters, people we love the most. So why do you think we're gonna suddenly just agree with everything that every president does, or a presidential candidate does? It's not gonna be that way.
Well, that is good talk, guys. I really like it. I could talk for days, but guys, for those tuning in, thanks for tuning in. We've got Penny out there. Uncle Eric is in the house. Stefan. And we've got a couple more people out there. So we're going to start off. We have a good show today. We've got Leslie back with our Crystal of the Week. We have the Gimme 5, and we've got some top 10 lists that I think you'll pretty much enjoy. And then we have a new podcast category that because it's Black History Month, we're going to talk about some stuff about Black history. All right, so let's go on to Leslie out of My Lucky Karma. Talk about her Crystal of the Week.
Hey guys, it's me, Leslie, bringing you the Crystal of the Week. This week's crystal is my ultimate favorite, and I believe a very underrated stone, Lepidolite. Lepidolite is connected to our third eye, throat, heart, and even our crown chakra. It clears blockages, bringing in cosmic awareness. Lepidolite is a deep emotional healing stone. It's soothing and it reduces stress and even depression. It dissipates negative energy and it insists on being used for the highest good. Make sure to take Lepidolite on a journey with you as you are rediscovering yourself. It will be the best comfort and best friend that you can have with you along that journey. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at My Lucky Karma, and swing by our Etsy shop. Keep spreading your love and light, and until next time, namaste.
Oh shit, Leslie's moving up in the world. She got a fucking TikTok now.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, she kind of did it on herself. She edited everything on her own. So give up to Leslie out there. My Lucky Karma. She got her Etsy, got her Facebook, and she got a website also, and of course, she check her out. She has some great stuff. Those who are into crystals and rocks.
Try to get some Lepidolite. I like the way that shit sound. I'm rocking this Lepidolite, motherfucker.
All right, guys. So it is Valentine's, and the rest of our crew, of course, are having their little significant other dinners or just spending time with their.
They're fucking. That's all they're doing. Right now.
They're probably.
They're
right.
fucking.
Today's top 10 list. Let's go on here. Hold on. All right, so we have. Let's see here.
I thought Phil was going like this.
Yeah. Yes.
People be out there bumping uglies.
Pounding cakes, boy.
Oh
Okay,
man,
I'm
hold on.
sorry.
Let me fix this real quick. Sorry. So the talk about the best Valentine Day movies. I think on this top 10 list, I'm sad to say I used to watch movies all the time. So this list, I think I watched every single movie.
If My Bloody Valentine isn't number one, this list is bullshit.
All right. We're talking about the best Valentine's Day movies, and it's not too late because it's only 6:30, so you guys can watch on the Pacific side here. All right, coming at number 10, Love Actually.
I've probably never seen any of these movies on this list. I'm gonna be honest with you.
What? Love Actually was Keira Knightley, the girl.
Oh, I like Keira Knightley.
Yeah. Alicia Colbert. So yeah, directed by Richard Curtis. So that's 2003. It came out. So actually, pretty good movie.
I mean, I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
Number 9, going back to 1990, Ghost with Demi Moore.
I have seen that one.
Patrick Swayze. That's a good one. And Whoopi. Oh yeah,
Yep.
that's a good one. That was a
Swayze,
good one.
Good one. Yeah. A little teary-eyed on that one. Number 9. All right. Number 8, A Walk to Remember. Mandy Moore, Shane West.
Nah, never seen it.
Never seen it.
Never seen that? 2002 it came out. It was okay. I guess probably if all of her movies of Mandy Moore is probably the better one.
I mean, it's Mandy Moore. Like, I mean, she's a good singer.
I Love You Like Candy? No? Okay. All right. The best Valentine's Day movies are at number 7, Pretty Woman. Yes.
That's a good one. That's one of my mom's favorite movies.
I have seen that one.
So I've probably seen that movie probably 3, 4, 5 times. My mom watches it quite frequently, so that's a good one. It is a good one.
Julia Roberts,
shout out to my mom.
Richard Gere, and that's when Julia Roberts was just, oh my goodness.
Boy, that's a good one. That's a damn good movie.
Yeah. And she had a run. She had a couple movies, I mean, within the span of 3 or 4 years.
Julia was on top. And then she played Tinkerbell, bro. In Hook.
She did.
You know what I'm saying?
She did.
I loved her then.
Julia Roberts was Tinkerbell and Hook?
Bruh, Julia Roberts was Tinkerbell, dog. Yes.
Would you be in love?
I thought it was Michelle Pfeiffer.
No, it was
hell no. That was Julia, baby.
Julia Roberts.
Right. I'll take your word for it, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. Next one. Number 6. You Got Mail. Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, 1998.
Haven't seen it.
I never watched that either. I mean, I remember it. That was around. Did they do Sleepless in Seattle too, or who was in that?
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was the same few people.
Yeah,
probably
never saw that one either.
Okay, that's number 6. Number 5, Ever After with Drew Barrymore. What? 1998.
You asking the wrong movies right now.
What about 50 First Dates? Come on, where's that one at?
I've seen that one. That was a good one.
Sandler.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so we're at number 4 now with the best Valentine's Day movies ever. Dirty Dancing.
I haven't seen that one.
That's old, man. I haven't seen it in forever. I
Patrick
couldn't tell you.
Good soundtrack.
I remember Patrick Swayze,
Yeah.
Good
Dirty
soundtrack
Dancing.
on that movie.
Oh, yeah. What was that one catchphrase line they have? No one pushes my baby, something like that.
Nobody puts baby in the corner. That's it.
There you go. You knew it more than I did, so you did watch that movie.
I've seen it. I admitted that I've seen it.
Right.
Okay. Number 3.
Rest in peace, Patrick Swayze.
No, Titanic.
You know what? I've never seen Titanic.
What?
In its entirety. I've seen pieces of it. I saw the part where he's painting her ass naked. You know what I'm saying? That was it. That was it.
All right.
Yeah, that I watched it in the movie theater once, and I watched it on VHS twice, and then I watched it on DVD another time. James Cameron, Leonardo DiCaprio, Kate Winslet. So one of the biggest movies, one of the first ones to make millions.
I saw that one in the theaters too.
Yeah.
And then Celine Dion with My Heart Will Go On.
Yeah.
We had to hear that song for 17 fucking years. Every motherfucking day. That song got annoying, bro. It was so bad that I was like, all right, you know what? I don't need to watch this movie.
Well, I mean, at that time, it was the movie, the
Yeah.
soundtrack. I mean, it was.
Oh yeah, no, it was the
It's not
shit.
on our playlist on AFN. Was My Heart Will Go On? Did we?
Bro,
Did we
if it ever played during my shit, if it was supposed to, it got X the fuck out.
skip it.
Oh yeah, I definitely had songs I skipped.
I support that decision.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty long song too. So
It was too slow for morning radio. That
I
would
would
never
support
play.
that decision.
it was. All right, so we're at number 2 right now. The Notebook.
Man, okay.
I've heard of it. But I've never seen it.
No, I've seen The Notebook.
Rachel
I've seen
Adams,
The Notebook.
Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, that was where she had Alzheimer's, right? And then he would like.
She has.
Yeah, she has Alzheimer's. Yeah. That shit was. Oh man.
Yeah.
Shit was gut wrenching.
What do you want? Just tell me what do you want. And that's Mem a couple times, talking about what do you want to eat and stuff.
Yeah, that's sad ass shit.
Rachel McAdams. Come on.
Rachel McAdams, yeah.
Yeah, she was hot too. All right, the best Valentine's Day movies. So let's go to honorable mention. So, man, Pride and Prejudice, number 11.
I thought that was the Swim movie. I thought that was the movie with Terrence Howard.
It's Keira
Knightley. Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. 12, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, Kate Hudson.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's Heath Ledger.
No,
you're thinking 10 Things I Hate About You.
Fuck yeah, that's right. That's a good one. The Heath Ledger one. That's a good one.
Yeah. This is Matthew McConaughey and Kate Hudson.
No, I've never seen it.
Number 13, Crazy Stupid Love. Actually, like that movie.
Who's that? Who's in that one? I know it's
Julianne Moore and the guy from The Office. What's his name?
I've never seen it.
We have a lot of guys in The Office.
Yeah, right. Which one?
Steve Carell or
the boss.
Steve Carell.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Number 14, While You Were Sleeping with Sandra Bullock and Monica Keena.
Never seen it.
1995. Notting Hill, number 15.
No, I've seen Notting Hill. That was a good one. That was a good one. Notting Hill is good.
Notting Hill's good. Julia Roberts.
What's the dude's name? Hugh Grant. Yep.
Yeah.
Notting Hill was good.
Notting Hill. Dude, that was a good one. I watched in the movie theater. I was deployed. I was employed to Ramstein at that time, and I watched them.
I can tell the way you lit up, bro. You really enjoyed that one. Like, his eyes lit up. He's like, that was a good one. Hell yeah. Notting Hill was good.
Number 16, When Harry Met Sally.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
1989, Meg Ryan, Billy Crystal.
Never seen it.
Yeah, it's one of those classics.
Number 17 is Say Anything with John Cusack and Jeremy Piven.
Mm-hmm.
With a boom box like this, and she's walking like, that's a good movie. All right, so we talked about the best Valentine's Day movies. That was an honorable mention. So number 10 again is Love Actually. Number 9, Ghost. Walk to Remember. Number 8, Pretty Woman. Number 7, You've Got Mail. Number 6, Ever After. Number 5, Dirty Dancing. Number 4, Titanic. Number 3, The Notebook at number 2. And what do you think number 1 is? So you kind of see all the movies where they're going at. So
number 1, oh man, it's got to be something super corny and super cheesy.
Yeah, it's probably pretty sappy.
It's probably it's something super fucking sappy. Just that I'd probably never watched because of how sappy it is.
Yeah. So number 1, it's with Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan, 1993.
Sleepless in Seattle.
Yeah.
I was gonna guess that. I was like, man, they already had the other one with those two.
Yeah, I'd already mentioned that one, so I didn't think that it would. Yeah. Okay.
Pretty good movie. Yeah, it was a really good movie. I mean, those are the time we no cell phones that time, so we had actual dial-up phones and we're calling and stuff, calling the radio stations to make what do you call it, requests or use it as therapy, which actually people still do that. So that's the top 10. I mean, there's some movies that I thought would be like what's that one with Brad Pitt? Not Braveheart. Braveheart would have been.
Braveheart wasn't Brad Pitt.
That's Tom Hanks, bro. I mean, not Tom Hanks.
That's Mel Gibson.
That's Mel Gibson.
Legends of the Fall. Legends of the Fall.
Okay, Legends of the Fall. Yeah.
What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
Yeah. All right, so
Gilbert Grape Valentine's movie.
Oh,
All right,
shit.
so that was that. So I know we all have problems. For those who do have significant others have had before, getting a gift for your significant other. And what is the best gift for a female? And we can share some of the gifts that we've given throughout the years. So number 10, a gift basket. Have you ever guys did that?
Yeah, I'm guilty.
Guilty.
Edible arrangements, guilty.
Yeah.
You say edible panties? What'd you say?
Edible arrangements.
Oh.
Well, those two, but
I've given this one a spa gift. Number 9.
Never done the spa day.
I've done the spa day.
Spa day, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I wouldn't have as many exes if I'd done the spa day. Maybe one of them would have stuck.
Yeah, probably
not.
No.
You're gonna need more than a spa day.
Well, I'm a licensed esthetician.
We'll see what number 8 is. Maybe that's what I was missing.
Number 8 is you throughout your years you've had to at least one time give it. So perfume with number 8. Number 8.
Yeah.
You've done it a couple times.
Yeah.
Number 7 for those who are really artistically romantic, love poem.
Who?
A love poem.
Writing a love poem.
Number 7 is a love poem.
Boy, I used to have bars. Wait,
Kelly, as long as it's not a haiku, that you
oh my God. As long as it's not a fucking haiku.
As long as it's not a haiku. You missed it. You missed it.
That shit was bad.
It was pretty bad.
That shit was bad.
It was.
I don't think my mom has seen that. Thank God.
It was pretty awkward. Go back.
That was fucking, it was bad.
I think it was episode 45.
Don't be telling people what number it was. No, it wasn't. Don't be telling people what episode number it was.
Oh, man.
I think it was 32. It was 32.
Yeah, probably. All right, we're talking about the best Valentine gifts ideals for her. Number 6, I've done this before, event or theater tickets, concerts, like that.
Oh, yeah. Concerts for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. Favorite artists, yeah.
Theater.
I've done Boys to Men. I've done what else?
Damn, you're aging yourself right there.
Oh yeah.
Boys to Men. I was in fucking elementary school, bro.
No doubt. No. This is Boys to Men.
After the fact, okay.
Yeah. Well, they were awesome. They were out of Oklahoma. They were awesome, actually.
No, Boys to Men is dope forever.
Yeah. They sound just like the CD, and everybody's singing inside, on the chairs. All right. The best Valentine's Day gifts ideals for her. Number 5. Pretty staple, jewelry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Never again.
Platinum, Tiffany.
Gonna get some shit from Claire's.
K Jewelries. Yeah. BX on layaway. on layaway. All right, Number 4, staple, like everybody else, like C's candy, chocolate.
Yep, of course.
What's the correlation of chocolate?
I don't know. Women love chocolate.
Is it aphrodisiac? What? Gets you pregnant faster?
I don't know.
Maybe people used to think it was an aphrodisiac.
Yeah.
Or maybe it just looks good in like a heart-shaped box, right? You know?
I don't know a lot of women that don't like chocolate.
This is true.
Unless they're allergic.
And I've even heard women who crave chocolate when they're on the period. And I don't know. I'm just telling you what I've heard in my experiences. I'm not trying to speak for women by any means, but I don't really.
I don't really know very many women who don't like chocolate. Like it's yeah.
I think we're conditioned. Remember when you're in elementary school and middle school?
It is some conditioned bullshit. Yes,
chocolate kisses and not just chocolate candy. Period. The little heart.
Might be one of those social things where it's like women are told they're supposed to like chocolate, so they.
Ladies, tell us in the comments. Why do you like chocolate? Or why don't you? Maybe tell us. We're full of shit. We don't know what we're talking about.
A bribe to get you in the boom boom. Hey, it's a little sweet chocolate. Number 2. Romantic dinner.
Well, yeah, I mean,
oh, this list is about as corny as the movies.
I mean, it's great. Yeah, I don't know.
What's number 1?
Well,
flowers.
Before I say number 1,
honorable mentions.
It's flowers.
Honorable mentions here. Number
Oh,
11
if it's
is
fucking
the-
flowers, Phil, I'm
Number
walking
11 is those heart-shaped candies with little messages.
Those taste like shit.
Oh, they taste like chalk.
They taste like sidewalk chalk. Yeah, that shit was sidewalk
You gonna
chalk.
eat sidewalk chalk?
Right.
Somebody making money off that. So
it was the same candy as the fake cigarettes. Remember the little cigarettes?
Yeah.
That was the same candy. That was the same shit, just colored with a message on it. Same bullshit.
Number 12, lingerie. Yeah, I've done it once.
I'm surprised that one wasn't higher. Actually,
that should have been on the list, the top 10.
Yeah, I'm surprised that wasn't higher. Or
13.
maybe these ones that women actually like. Like you get lingerie and they're like, oh,
yeah,
thanks. This is more for you though, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
Which I never understood that because I really don't give a fuck about some lingerie. I mean, for real. I mean, it's cool for the 5.2 seconds it's going to be on.
It's the foreplay, the look, you know.
Listen, our foreplay has nothing to do with them clothes.
Because especially nowadays they don't really dress up. This is like clothes on, clothes off kind of thing. So lingerie, see-through. Girls that do lingerie, they don't wear lingeries.
Who doesn't?
Girls don't typically wear lingeries. Like daily, they don't wear that.
No, not on a daily. No, but I thought you were saying like they just don't wear it anymore. Like
no. Yeah, well, they don't wear. Yeah, they wear it sniff color. All right, number 13 here is scrapbook.
Who the fuck put together? Hold on, this is something dudes gave to a girl. A dude put together the scrapbook. Okay, listen, and I'm not trying to make fun of men if they're making a scrapbook. Like, by all means, do what you fucking do.
Collage.
That's mad corny.
Yeah.
I don't know though. That might get you some serious points with the ladies though.
Yeah.
Put together a scrapbook.
You know,
or
it's
they're gonna
handmade.
be like,
it's from the heart.
Or they're gonna be like, this motherfucker can't cut straight. Like, look at this shit. They're gonna be clowning your ass. Your
handwriting look like you've been writing with your foot.
right.
I got bad handwriting. So, number 14, a new pet, puppy, cat.
For Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
That's a big commitment right there.
Yeah,
that's a hell of a commitment.
Right there.
Shit.
All right. So the best Valentine Day gifts ideas for her. So number 10, going back, gift basket, spa gift, perfume, love poem, theater tickets, jewelry, chocolate, flowers, romantic dinner, and number 1 tops the list, romantic vacation. That's some adult shit right there.
That is.
It wasn't flowers.
That's a good one though.
I've done that one time.
I've done that a few times.
Oh yeah.
Took a girl to, huh?
Onsen vacation.
I thought you said Wisconsin.
Oh yeah, Wisconsin. Hey baby, let's go to Wisconsin in February.
Romantic getaway to Wisconsin.
No, went to an onsen in Japan once for Valentine's. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Japan has a lot of places where you can go and take romantic getaways. So even those love hotels, you know what I'm saying? With the Harley. What is Harley doing up in here? Like, you know what I'm saying? Wait, come on, man, guys. Have you not partaken yet in the hotels in Japan? Abby, what's up?
What up, Abby?
Happy Valentine's. Yeah, we just got done with the best Valentine Day gift ideas.
Damn, Abby, you're coming in clear as shit.
I know, man.
Thank you.
I need your camera. Shit.
I know, man. That's that DSLR. So yeah, romantic vacation was number 1 for the top gifts for her, which is good. I would do that. That's some adult shit right there.
Yeah, I've done that.
I agree.
Yeah. We're going to Hawaii.
Oh, we went to.
Oh yeah.
Well, last year we went to the UK. We did 1 week in Scotland and the other week in England. So that was like the best vacation.
And we're taking a MAC flight to wherever it goes. Wherever it goes. Singapore, Guam, I don't care. Travis. Well, we're in Travis.
Travis, which is burned down now.
Yeah. Well, happy Valentine's, everybody. Hopefully, everybody had a great dinner. I know either you're in the middle of your dinner or ending up your dinner. So we talked about things about Valentine's. So, Abby, we're talking about, what is the correlation of chocolate and Valentine's? Why do girls like? Why
do women like chocolate, Abby?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I just like chocolate. You don't even have to wait for Valentine's to give it to me, man.
Okay, so is the quality of the chocolate? You know, you got that Godiva.
Yes, it is. It's a quality chocolate. Don't give me no dollar store, you know, $1 store. You know, don't give me no cheap chocolate.
The Costco, those Costco big ass, you know, fucking car size chocolate. Like, here you go.
Man, just buy me stuff from Costco because
gotcha.
Their chocolate is always good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's dark chocolate or white chocolate?
You know what? I have. If you asked me,
Black History Month.
Oh, okay.
If you asked me when I was younger, I would say white chocolate. But because I went keto about a year ago, dark chocolate was like the safe chocolate to eat, and I've learned to like it. My favorite is Dove's dark chocolate. So good. Yeah, so good.
So the quality of the chocolate matters, right?
Yes. And I'm sorry, United States of America, your chocolate cannot compete with Europe's chocolate. I am sorry.
I don't know.
Sorry.
You
know, but the thing is, when you look at the ingredients, the first like ingredient in an American chocolate is usually sugar. But if you look at the ingredients of a European chocolate, the first ingredient is, I guarantee you, chocolate.
Right.
So, I mean, my husband didn't believe me. So when we went to the UK last year, I bought a box of chocolate, and it was like some variety chocolate. And I told him, I said, try it. The motherfucker finished the whole box.
Yeah, I agree.
I was like, where's the chocolate? I was like, honey, where's the chocolate? And he goes, I'll just buy you another box, baby. It was only 5 pounds. I was like, okay, it was only 5 pounds. You better get me my chocolate. And
yeah, they have that special chocolate from South America where it's like $300 a piece.
What?
Yeah, bro. It's like, I've ate it before. Like, what the fuck? This chocolate is like, it's like Wagyu. If you had Wagyu for the first time in your whole life, like,
oh yeah,
holy shit, this is good as meat. So yeah, this $300 chocolate. Yeah. So.
I remember
Wagyu. What'd you say?
Wagyu beef. Oh,
Wagyu beef. Yeah.
He said that's good ass meat.
It is good some meat. Yeah, they have the Wagyu here, man. It's expensive as shit, but yeah. All right, guys.
Got real stuff here.
Did y'all ever go to Ruth's Chris in Tokyo?
No.
There was a Ruth's Chris in Tokyo.
It was?
Bruh, yes.
No,
I went one time.
Clearly, I never went there.
Oh, bruh, I went one time. I didn't know what I was in for. And they slapped me over the head. That little bitty ass steak. It was Wagyu or Wagyu, however the fuck you say it.
Wagyu, yeah.
Yeah, I got that. And it was like $150. The motherfucker was tiny, bro. And they brought it out there, and there was no sides. There was literally no sides. I'm sitting there, and I was like, that's when I immediately felt like low class. Because I was like, hold on, where's the rest? They're like, oh.
You want to probably have my steak.
For real. Like, where's the rest of my steak, for one? And then where's some motherfucking potatoes or something?
So asparagus.
Bro, I was embarrassed. I had no clue.
Like just cut it.
Don't feel bad.
Man, listen. I ate my shit. I ate off her plate as well. It was listen, I walked out of that bitch with like $350, $400. I was like, shit, I'm eating everything. I'm like, y'all got some shit in the back you need to get rid of? They slapped me over the head, bro. I had no fucking clue. And you know what? It comes out in yen too. It was like, what was it? What's that?
15,000 yen.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, on that alone was 15,000. But my shit was like 45 or 50,000 yen. I was like, huh? Hold on, this shit ain't adding up. I'm like, I'll never fucking Ruth's Chris again.
Yeah,
that's Ruth's Chris everywhere. They're expensive as
I'd be
fuck.
like,
I had no clue.
I'm eating at the dining hall for the next 2 weeks.
It wasn't that damn. It wasn't that damn good. Not
Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes,
Oh,
and
yeah.
like, there was one in Tachikawa.
Yeah.
They had some good ass steaks, and it was like a big steak, and it was.
Affordable.
I mean, it was like 5,500 yen, but it's still, not Ruth's Chris.
Yeah, it was affordable. It's right at the end of the base. It's still Tachikawa, but anyways.
Yeah.
Good. All right, guys. All right, Kellen, are you ready for the Give Me 5?
Shit, let's go.
All right.
All right, since we're 1 week removed from the obvious, let me go ahead and just state the elephant in the room. All right. Obviously, I'm repping my boys all day, every day. We lost
JC.
And it was tough. I'm not even gonna lie. I was a little butthurt for a week, but now I'm over it. Okay, congrats, kudos to everybody. But man, all this love and fanfare that Tom Brady got really pissed me the hell off, because people didn't really look at the fact that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense was able to stifle probably the best offensive player in the league right now in Pat Mahomes. But it's all good. I'm not going to act all butthurt about that. But what I am going to talk about is how America the Beautiful should be the new national anthem. We need to get away from the Star Spangled Banner, because obviously if you know the last stanza like 4 or 5 on there, which nobody ever sings that part, it's a racist ass song. So, being that it's Black History Month and, I just wanted to bring something up like that. America the Beautiful, the Ray Charles rendition, should be the national anthem. So there's that. I just wanted to throw that out there. Still go Chiefs. And for you haters, don't worry. We will be back. And I will say, because I'm superstitious as hell, please, next year, in the future, Chiefs fans, don't become like Dallas Cowboy fans and be fucking annoying as shit. And don't start gloating before we even play the game. There were so many people that were sending me predictions. They were like, 42-27 Chiefs, all that bullshit. And I hate it. I don't like talking to people that know me, that truly know me. No, I don't like talking about the game. I don't like making predictions or any of that bullshit. I just like to let the shit play out. That's why I always do the fingers crossed and a fucking heart. Okay. That's my shit. Anyway, that has everything to do with nothing. All right. It is Valentine's Day. And I want to say, I have been watching Bridgerton. Uncle Eric, fuck the Raiders. I love you, but fuck the Raiders. I've been watching Bridgerton. If you haven't seen that, it's on Netflix. Very good little show, especially for some lovey-dovey shit. If you get to episode 6, there's a whole lot of fucking. So it's a pretty good little show, though. And what I dig about it is they've incorporated a lot of diversity in it, and it's cool as hell. So it's not completely historically accurate in terms of, it's in London. I think it's in, I can't remember if it's, what's that?
It's in Bath.
Bath. Yeah.
Yes, it's in Bath.
Is it 1700? Is it 1712 or 1812? I can't remember.
I think it's 18.
It might be 1812. But yeah, so, but it's a dope little shit. And, it's Valentine's Day. You want to watch a few episodes with your lady, go ahead and do that shit. It's got me ready for love. I'm ready for marriage, and I'm ready to have some babies. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to lay up on the couch and watch some Bridgerton, holla at me. No, I'm playing. No, but for real though, last but not least, I just completely lost my fucking train of thought. That's what I really did. It's Give Me 5. She said Shonda is a beast. Hell yeah, Melody, you are damn right. Damn, bro, I really did just lose my train of thought, and I didn't have this one written down. Uncle Eric's watching Bridgerton too. That's dope. Oh, check out on HBO Max. Check out Judas and the Black Messiah.
Oh yeah.
It's about Chairman Fred Hampton, who and I've talked about the Black Panthers on this show. That's what's pretty dope. Yeah. He and what he was doing, he's the one that really started talking about the Rainbow Coalition. He was about, literally bringing everybody together. Whites, blacks, everybody, LGBT community, whoever, in order to actually make some change. And that's the reason why the FBI wanted Judas and the Black Messiah. That's the reason why the FBI wanted to take him, or did take him out. Because guess what? If you have a black person up there that's speaking and they're divisive, right? Like if they view Malcolm X or, Louis Farrakhan, they viewed them as divisive. They're okay with that because they can villainize that black man and they can make America fear him, right? And that's okay for them. That's good for their agenda. And by them, I mean the elites, the people that are actually running shit, right? But when it comes to a guy like Fred Hampton, who was about uniting people, and even Malcolm X later on, when he changed his message and he was about uniting people of all races, that's what they feared, because this is a person that people actually listened to and would follow. So he was dangerous. And when they couldn't get shit on him, I mean, they were pinning like dumbass shit on him to try to arrest him. Then they just go in there and literally murdered this man. And I say, man, and he was a fucking kid. I mean, truly, he was only like 20, 21 years old when they killed him. So, and that was pretty much the end of the Black Panthers as we know it. And again, they wrote the narrative, and by they, again, I mean the elites and the way history was written in America, completely rooted out of white supremacy. They made it seem like the Black Panthers were this evil entity. And for people to fear them. And in all actuality, they were the ones that start talking about the Rainbow Coalition and trying to bring everybody together. It shows in the movie where he went to this small white town. Thank you, Unc. He was 21 years old when they murdered him. And he went to this town and he's talking to leaders. And these guys were probably borderline Klansmen, but basically he's telling them, hey, poor white folks, these rich white elitists, they don't give a fuck about you any more than they do our black asses. So we should be together in this fight. And that's the thing that scares them the most, the people that the powers that be. And so check out Judas and the Black Messiah. Dope ass flick. It's on HBO Max. And it's important for everybody to see that. That's not just Black history is American history. And so we all need to be a part of it. And the thing that I wanted to mention last but not least is the thing that's been going on right now is there's the attacks on Asian Americans is at an all-time high in this country. And that's something else I want to hit on. I know I talk a lot about Black issues and whatnot, but in general, people of color, I care about all people, but we need to highlight shit when it's going on with people of color. And Asian Americans right now have been under attack. And a lot of that stems from the racist narrative and the racist rhetoric that we've heard from the last administration in regards to COVID-19. And the coronavirus, calling it the Chinese flu. And now you have people going out and they're thinking that, this virus is caused by Asian people, and they're mistaken taking every Asian person that they see and calling them Chinese. And even then, even if they are actually Chinese, that they are not your enemy. They are not the ones you need to be attacking. So I don't know what the solution is in that, but I just hope that all people of color, I hope all people and allies, will rise up and make sure that you are protecting the communities and protecting the people in those areas. We shouldn't sit back and let anybody be under attack, regardless of their color. But especially situations like this where people are being strategically, targeted. So again, just want to give some light to that. But man, my mind's all over the place. I'm gonna go ahead and end this. Give me 5. Thank you for tuning in.
All right, give it up for killing everybody. Give me 5. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, on the recent attacks, of Asian Americans, I don't know where is that coming from. Is that a social media thing? Is that a challenge? Is it isolated? So I just don't know enough about it. It's happened before, but are they tied together? You know what I'm saying? I just don't know enough about why are they attacking us now? Like, why not?
It's the coronavirus thing, right? Because you got the former president, which feels good to say, calling it the Chinese virus or the even more racist kung flu, fucking shit like that. And so you end up with this, good old-fashioned xenophobia towards Asian Americans, thinking that somehow they're spreading around coronavirus. So that's where it's coming from.
But why now? Why 2021? Why not like?
It was going on last year.
Yeah,
it's an ongoing thing.
Yeah, it didn't just start in the last couple weeks. They're starting to. It's like anything else, and they start tallying murders and violent crimes in the city, and then it's like, oh shit, these numbers are up significantly. Like when it was happening, that was one thing, but when they start looking at it and they see the numbers in comparison to the years before, that's when they released the articles talking about it,
Yeah.
And that's what's going on. They're like, oh, 2020 attacks on Asian Americans was up significantly. Oh, and it's still occurring.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And I want to believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's not the attackers were of different ethnicities, right? They were white, they were black, they're
Oh yeah,
different.
It wasn't
it's
just white people.
It wasn't just white people doing the attacks.
Yeah. Well, we had a conversation, me, Abby, and Kellen, a couple of days ago about now that the Asians, it's happening more frequently now. Now a lot of our Asians, and maybe I can only speak for the Filipinos, that we assimilate very quickly to whatever country that we're in. We know a lot of Filipinos in Italy and Korea, Japan, the States. We assimilate really quickly, and we don't really our nature is not to buck the system. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
Not rock the boat. Yeah.
so we're not big activists when it comes to especially our Black Americans. When things happen with them, we don't typically follow them or be outspoken about that. But because it doesn't bother us, right? But now that it's happening, now we want to be like, hey, Kellen, we should join forces, and, you know what I'm saying? So my thing is it's good that you're worried about it and that you're outspoken about it, but you have to talk about all of us, not just specifically the Filipinos or the Chinese or the Japanese. You guys talk about all of us as minorities in America. So.
Well, I mean, you lived in Japan, Floyd, and you know that outspoken and rocking the boat is just not in general an Asian quality.
Yeah.
They're for lack of a better word, they tend to be more of the mindset of not necessarily conforming, but I guess being more polite and not getting in people's face about stuff. So,
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, they need, it's good to see other people advocating for them too,
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for it. It's just let's be for everybody. Let's be concerned about everybody, especially minorities, both sides. And look here, we're not here to say only white Americans or the only races, because on our side we do have races tendencies. You marry within your own group, marry within your own ethnicity, whatever that it happens, and so. But we always want to talk about it because it has to be a conversation because it's not being done well enough in school, right? If it's done correctly in school, well, they're supposed to be where it's American history. It's not just Asian American history or Black American history. Then we wouldn't have this conversation as much anymore. So we always have these young kids coming up, and they're a product of their environment or their education system. Each state and city have their different ways of educating them about diversity and all that, or they're not diverse enough, right? I mean, some schools are, there's five Asian people or 5 Black people in one school, and everybody else is are white or Caucasian. So
yeah, what is it they said? They said it's the same 5 Black people they learn about in Black history,
right?
So
right.
As if those are the only 5 Black people who ever made any contribution.
Well, I was 30-something years old when I found out about the Tulsa Race Massacre from the first time from Kellen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was 30-something years old and in the Navy and way out of high school, and before I heard about stuff like that, and I'm just I remember being completely floored when I heard about it. I was like, you mean to tell me
right
in the early 1900s there was this thriving community of Black people, and then a bunch of racist white people burnt it to the ground?
Yep.
How am I just hearing about this for the first time, type of thing?
Is it Oklahoma? Oklahoma, right? Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's also Tulsa. Oklahoma, just right down the road from where I live right now. So that was just, my mind was just blown. And actually that was one of the things that kind of inspired me to learn a little bit more about, American history from, about the people that necessarily don't look like me, and
Right.
the way other people have seen that and experienced it. So
And
yeah,
and you bring up an excellent point. And Uncle Eric said history means his story. So whoever dominates, then they get their story. That is America.
Yep.
And that couldn't be more real, because you think about it too. And when we think of the worst person ever, right? Like who do we compare people to when you're the worst person ever?
Hitler.
Right? Hitler's the first thing that comes to mind, right?
Right.
Because we get to tell that America, white Americans, they get to tell that story, Hitler, because we like to cover up our own genocides that happen right here in this country.
Oh yeah.
Starting with slavery, and then the genocide of Native Americans in this country. So guess what? They're thankful that a Hitler came along and killed 6 million Jews. And I shouldn't say thankful. That's not the right way to word that. But they at least have somebody now.
It gives them a convenient boogeyman.
Set the bar way higher, right? And then America looks like, look at us. Well, we freed our slaves, and now they're living good, and look, we had a black president. Life's good, And that's the thing too. For so long, Asian Americans have been and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I've had conversations with plenty of my Asian friends, and they've said Asian Americans have always been the model minority, right?
Yes.
Like whites have always wanted others, blacks and Hispanics, like, look at the Asians, be like them,
Yep.
And now with these attacks and things going on and people having these conversations, I am glad to see James and Divine, two and I sound like that dude, like, I got 2 Asian friends, like the person saying they got 2 black friends or some shit. But we've been having these conversations, and like you were saying earlier, Floyd, about Asian Americans sometimes taking a seat back when it comes to racial injustice and because they're like, let me not get involved. Well, now I've been hearing more people being vocal, and I think that's the dope part about it too. It's just with this hate and this division that we're seeing in this country, it's also bringing a lot of people together. And as fucked up as that may be, I mean, even some of my white friends, conversations I'm having with them, and they're telling me shit that's going on in their own families. And it's incredible, because people are like taking a tough stance, and they're like, you know what? Enough is enough. And that's where we are in history and in time. And at some point in time, things will get better, or we will come back together in some capacity. But it is good that people are drawing lines, and we are having more of these discussions, these hard discussions. And even our Asian brothers and sisters are speaking out now and saying, all right, fuck that,
And I like that you brought up the model minority thing, Kellen. And the problem with that is, white people are very guilty of trying to lift up Asians as like an example of a minority group who have succeeded in America, but we're ignoring a lot of different Asians who haven't had that same experience. Vietnamese refugees, Hmong refugees, a lot of Korean and Chinese immigrants who have, and probably I'm unfortunately not as well educated when it comes to like the Filipino community, but I'm sure that there are, Filipino communities in parts of this country that maybe have had a very different experience of America than some of these well-off Asians that have come here and been successful. So like, it's not even the whole Asian American, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not all Asian Americans who've really experienced that. And so we're just ignoring a lot when we say stuff like that.
Yeah. I think for our side, they tend to shrug it off. Because like I said, they want to assimilate as fast as they can. They want to be more American or more Japanese or more Italian. They want to speak the language. We're easy. We're all over the world. We're the number one export in the Philippines is our OFWs, overseas Filipino workers. And so everywhere you see them, they speak every language that you can imagine. Where to be New Zealand, it could be in Egypt, it could be in Saudi Arabia, Italy. You see Filipinos, but they assimilate. They try to assimilate as much as possible.
Now, and I hate to bring this up, but do you think that part of that is the fact that you spent so much of your recent history as first a Spanish colony, and then as an American colony, and that maybe having been colonized for so long. Do you think that that's kind of played a role in why Filipino Americans are that way, or Filipino, I guess, expatriates in general are that way?
Yeah, I think colonization.
It is. I honestly think that's it. We've been colonized. We've been, what is it? We've been trained.
Brainwashed.
Yeah, we've been brainwashed to be, to not rock the boat, to make things for things to get easy, for things to be easy on us, so that we don't get punished, we don't get we don't get whipped, we assimilate. And I remember when we moved from the Philippines to Guam, my teachers were Filipinos, and I didn't speak English at all when we moved. And when I started school, my Filipino teachers told my parents, don't talk to her in Tagalog anymore, talk to her in English. And my mom said, well, we want her to keep the language.
Right.
And my teachers were like, no, you don't want her to have an accent. You don't want her to be made fun of. And when we moved to Florida and people found out that, oh, you're Filipino, gosh, you speak English so well. And I looked at them and I'm like, bitch, I've been talking, I've been speaking English my whole entire life. I should speak English well,
Right.
And I'm like, what the fuck did you think? And they're like, oh, where did you live? Where did you grow up? And I'm like, Guam. They're like, oh, is that like an island? And I said, yes. And I look at them and I'm like, no, we did not ride carabaos. We drove cars. No, we did not live in trees. We lived in houses. And I said, what else do you want to say? And they're like, oh no, don't be offended. But it's that gaslighting and that microaggression,
right?
That we as Filipinos, especially those who don't want to rock the boat, we just shrug it off and we're like, they're so funny. No, and I don't put up with that shit, which is why a lot of people, when they meet me, the first thing they say is, oh, you're not like the Filipinos.
Oh, you're different, huh?
Different, huh?
I like that Melody said the Indian Asian people aren't treated as model minorities. And she's absolutely right. And that's because they're brown. And a lot of times they're mistaken for Middle Eastern. So they get that kind of stigma. You know what I'm saying? You meet the guy running the 7-Eleven and they'll automatically say he's this or that. And then you find out he's actually Hindu. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or he's Sikh, you know?
Yep.
But they automatically assume that they're Muslim. And that's the reason why the Indian Asian people are treated as such. But
truth.
Yep. And Native Americans too. You got to remember our Native Americans who've been challenged. They're here first before all of us.
Mm-hmm.
They've had their own challenges, and some of the tribes got casinos, and they're a little bit better off depending on the tribe that you're in. But you got to remember, a lot of our cities here are been taken away from these big tribes at one time, and so they are Native Americans, and they have their own problems with alcoholism and not a lot of education, opportunities. They're labeled, go to your own country. Go, bitch, I'm from here. Like this whole town, this whole city is actually my ancestors' town. Whatever. And so I think it's not enough diversity in the history books that are being taught in the school. So there's need to be a big reform of every city, every town history books. What are you guys teaching? And so that won't be overnight.
That segues into the 1619 project and the 1776 project, which is dead, thankfully. But to me, it's embarrassing to have to learn about important things that happen in our history when I'm 35 years old or going on 40 years old and finding things out for the first time, because they don't want to teach that history because it's uncomfortable for people like me, who look like me, who are white men, you know. So yeah, I mean, I'm all for we really need to reform the way that we and have some standards nationwide that we're enforcing on how we teach history. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
American
losing so
history.
much.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, he's talking about. I'm here talking about the wanting to lighten up the skin color, and we talked
Oh,
about
yeah.
that too. Remember? Well, I mean that goes like I know, like in the Dominican Republic. You know, that's a big thing. You got guys like Sammy Sosa,
Sammy
who are
Sosa.
putting creams and elixirs on their skin to lighten their skin to be
Mhm.
more desirable. But even in Asian culture,
Yeah.
Hisano Yamazaki, she told me one time, like with Japanese, you know, it's frowned upon to be dark. So that's why you'll see a lot of Japanese people will have an umbrella, right, in the middle of the summer,
That's
so the
Filipinos.
skin doesn't,
Yeah.
so the
Yep.
skin doesn't darken up, you know, because it's frowned upon. It looks like you work outside,
Yep.
and yeah, it's looked down upon. And
It is.
how do we change that ideology? You know.
Mhm.
But I
Yeah, I
also, but I think that has to start within the culture that it started in. Like Filipinos have to accept that Moreno, or the darker brown skin Filipinos, they're just as beautiful and as talented as those who are light skinned. But you know, if you look at the Miss Universe pageant and you look at the Filipinos who compete,
most of them
you
have. Yeah.
they are not full Filipinos. They are half. They have the Euro Asian features, and those are the people that they send to compete with other nations. But that is the kind of like beauty standard that Filipinos and most Asian countries look at as having the Euro Asian features. That's the standard of beauty. And I we can blame it to colonizers, but who's to say, like, history has been lost so much, you know, from ancestral history has been lost so much because of the colonizers. We can't know if Filipinos were like that too in the past. Were they honoring people who were lighter skinned than them or darker skinned than them? We don't know. We can't. So that viewpoint that light skin is beautiful, it's kind of like become ingrained.
Yeah, that's every country from India to South America to here, Black America, Africa. They all like, if you're lighter skin, you're more desirable, or more, you know, more into job or whatever it is.
Well, it's because you're not working out like in the fields in the sun, and even among white people, the term redneck comes from people that are like laboring outside in the sun, and so they get the sunburn on their neck, and that's looked down upon. So I mean, yeah, I think there's there's a little bit of that in a lot of different cultures, but I think that there is also in some places that whiteness is kind of considered to be the standard for beauty, and that is actually probably a part of it as well.
Who's that actress? She's really dark skinned. She won an Oscar award.
Oh, Lupita.
Lupita Nyong'o.
Ooh,
Yeah.
man, she's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, she's
Like,
hot.
I mean, the thing is, man, 97% of the world the countries in the world at one point in time were ruled by white people.
White people.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, literally 97% of the world at one point in time, every country was ruled by white people, and that's where it started. You know, and that's where it's no different than like when they were doing the Crusades and shit, and they go through and they make you're gonna believe as we do, and this is how it's gonna be. It's the same shit that to some degree that we do now. We try to force democracy on countries that don't, you know, recognize or participate in democracy at this time. You know, and we call ourselves freeing them and taking over these oppressed people, but really we're just pushing our beliefs on them. And that's been going on since the beginning of time, you know, and in the Black community, when you talk about, we have this joke about light skin, dark skin, and what's desirable, or light skinned dudes are out of style and this and that. But that shit even goes back to like to slavery when white people were telling them, you know, the darker complected somebody was, the less desirable they were, or the less trustworthy they were. The lighter complected they were more trustworthy. And a lot of times, you know, they play that like light skin, they were more trustworthy, but in all actuality, it was just like, no, that was Massa's son, you know, his biracial son. So we're going to bring him inside because, you know what, even though I really don't want to acknowledge him, he is part of my blood or whatever, you know. And that's where a lot of that shit stems from. And it's crazy, man. Like all of it, when you really think about it, and we could go on about this topic forever because there's so much to unpack. There's so much, you know.
I think you know, one step at a time. You know, who was the next education secretary again?
I don't know, someone who actually has an educational background.
Yeah, and it's going to help.
Educational background outside of for-profit universities, you know.
Yeah. So
or private schools, you know.
It takes her step to, like, you know, start reforming, looking at every history book and everything, and especially down south, you know. But you know, there's a lot. Like you said, there was only 4 or 5 black icons that we learned about, but there were so many. You know, people, inventors, scientists, doctors, you know, politicians. You know, what's the one? She was going to be in the new $20 bill. What's her name?
Harriet Tubman.
Yeah, Harriet Tubman. You know, and it's gonna take time, but at least we should start.
7 years for Harriet Tubman to be on the $20 bill, which, you know,
Andrew Jackson's a punk ass.
Yeah, Andrew Jackson is a
piece of shit.
Yeah, I can't really say anything good about him at all, really. Like, yeah. But Miguel Cardona is going to be is Biden's nominee for education secretary. Not confirmed yet, but Miguel Cardona is.
Gotcha. Yeah, I thought it was a girl. Cool. All right, guys. Well, that was a good conversation. I thought we can go on and on for that. But yeah, let's look into, you know, since it's Black History Month, this is Pod Decks here. So our new category here is Pod Decks. So, you know, Pod Decks are unique interview questions and episodes starting prompts in the palm of your hand. So whether you're a new podcaster, an existing podcaster, looking to grow your audience or get more engagement, you're going to want to check out poddex.com. Use the code right there, HWY54, for 10% off your first order. And what helps, if you do have a interview or a podcast, it helps you to bring up more interview questions and also start new topics. So today's Poddex is brand new, actually. It's called Black History Month. Are you guys ready?
Let's get it.
All right. So
ready.
Some of these are kind of hard, so we have to really dig deep into some of these. So, okay, first question. Do you have a favorite moment or event from the civil rights movement? For me, I can only like really stand out, and like for the few that I remember or was given to me, of course, is MLK, which is the speech at the Lincoln Memorial. But then also that one, and you know, when the Freedom Riders, when they marched.
Mm-hmm.
And when they went in the bus, they marched to the one town.
Selma?
Selma to Montgomery marches?
There you go. It's at Corners. Yeah. So that's number 2. You guys got?
Man, it's funny. Actually, go ahead, Phil.
Well, you know, I mean, I obviously, like, the Selma to Montgomery march was really important because it brought a lot of attention to the civil rights movement, but it brought a lot of attention to the South, right? And a lot of that movement seems to be focused on the South, and there was sort of this deliberate attempt to shift focus away from the North, where you had Malcolm X, who was given a lot of pretty powerful speeches of his own, and there was one speech in particular of his that I watched where he was saying, you don't have to go to Mississippi or Alabama to find a segregated school. I can show you a segregated school right here in New York City, right?
Right.
And so, you know, he's calling out the fact that it wasn't necessarily legal segregation, where like they had a law that said you didn't have schools that were mixed, but it was that because of where people lived, there was segregation and there was this inequality that we just kind of ignored and glossed over for that entire movement. So I think for me, Malcolm X calling attention to racism outside of the South was really important.
Gotcha. Abby?
Mine, and this is how basic my education of Black history was Rosa Parks. I came from my high school was an all-girls school, so finding out a woman had the guts to say, no, I am fucking tired, I am not moving my ass to the back of the bus, no. And standing up for that was like something educators in my school pushed, because they were pushing us as, you know, female students to be just as aggressive, just as strong and brave. So she was like, that was like the thing that stuck out most, was that she knew she was going to get in trouble. She knew she was going to be thrown in jail, but she was like, fuck this, man. I am tired. And you want me to move myself to the back of the bus? No. So that one was like what stuck out. But like I said, very basic. 5 people. That's it. And it's sad. And it's sad.
So for me, man, growing up, learning Black history in a class full from a white teacher in a class full of white kids, I can't say that I had a lot of good memories of it, because I remember feeling like people's laughing or snickering or making, you know what I'm saying, comments during that time, and I was the only Black person in the class, right? So for me, I remember thinking, man, I can't wait till this fucking chapter of history, we're done talking about it in school. And that's sad when you really think about it. But I didn't like it because I didn't like the way I felt, like hearing about the struggle that people of color were going through at that time, and to be in a classroom with people who weren't taking it very serious. And you could tell people didn't really care to know it. And you could tell, like, you know, the teachers, like looking back, I'm not saying that they were like, the teachers are bad and they're evil or whatever, but it was just kind of like, yeah, we're supposed to talk about this, so I'm going to get through it, you know, kind of thing. I don't have a lot of good memories of learning about that time of civil rights and knowing that how much Black people were struggling. I literally had a substitute teacher when I was in 5th grade. He made a comment one day, Mr. Sweet, I'll never forget this shit. He literally said, he was talking about a slave owner, and he was like, yeah, he was a good slave owner. And I was in 5th grade. Bro, I was in 5th grade. He was our substitute teacher. He was subbing for Miss Dillow's class. And I got in trouble because I said, how can you say he was a good slave owner if he owned slaves? How is he good? And he tried to clarify, like, oh, well, he didn't be. I was in 5th grade, bro. And I literally was challenging this grown ass man in 5th grade. I'll never forget it, because I ended up getting written up for it because he said I was talking back to him. But I was pissed off that this man tried to say he was a good slave owner. And he was like, well, he didn't cut their hands off or beat them like other slave owners did, stuff like that. And, you know, and my teacher, she ended up apologizing to me when she came back, like the next day or whatever. We had this conversation about it, but I was upset. And that's a lot of my memories of learning Black history, you know, in school and growing up. And it wasn't comfortable at all because I didn't feel like anybody in there really gave a fuck.
That sucks, man.
It does, man.
I mean, it's life. It is what it is. But
you know, if I can circle back real quick to talk about Rosa Parks for a second. The other thing, you know, when a lot of these Black women were being forced, or just especially Black women, were being forced to like the back of the bus, they were also a lot of times experiencing like physical and or sexual assaults, and they didn't have anybody they could go to. So part of what they were protesting is, you know, treat our bodies with respect, you know, quit raping us with impunity. Like that was also part of that bus protest and that bus boycott was the fact that, you know, for years you'd have white men raping Black women with impunity, whereas a white woman could just accuse a Black man of rape, and even if it was true or not, he was getting lynched, right? Like that, and
they might burn down the whole fucking Black part of town.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Wow.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I didn't even know about that. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't
My
know that.
teacher didn't say that shit. See, I told you.
I mean, this is one of those, and you know, as I've said before, Kellen is a big part of, you know, the reason why, and you know, I love you for this, brother. You know, I have realized I have some gaps in my education when it comes to this country's history, and so I have taken some time to try to learn what our country's history was like from the perspective of other people, you know, and so it's kind of depressing once you start digging into it. It really is. Not kind of. It is straight up depressing.
It's heavy. Absolutely.
It's heavy. It's real heavy. And especially when, like, I know I didn't do any of that shit.
Right.
But
right.
Like the fact that for a long time I didn't know about it kind of makes me almost feel culpable in a way, you know?
Right.
I think one of the steps is to at least understand and to learn a lot about American history. You know, all our history.
Mm-hmm.
Every ethnicity that came here, we're all immigrants at one point, besides the South, the Native Americans.
Right.
All our histories should be included, and to understand each side, where you grew up, what did you come from, who you're surrounded by. You know, you're a product of your environment. It's just to understand. Angry is angry, but I need to understand why you're angry.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you afraid of me? Why, you know what I'm saying? So to have that deeper understanding of each American history viewpoint, it's the right step to the right direction. It's okay not to know, but then now you need to educate yourself. And you know, Kellen and yourself and Abby, you have different viewpoints of how you grew up as an American. The American story is not one story; it's a lot of stories. You know, like, we can count it on our hands. We're all immigrants at one time, and so we just need to kind of really remind each other about that, and not to be silent. You know, there are times you have to stand up for everybody else and say, no, man, you're wrong. And so it's going to be a challenge for the next 10, 20 years, 30 years. Now, maybe it won't even be solved within our own lifetime, but you know, stuff like this, when people hear it, they're going to educate themselves, and that they might spark some interest in looking deeper into, you know, Abby's and my history and your history, you know, Phil, and then of course Kellen's history. So,
right.
God,
I hope so.
The fear that those people have is that people from other cultures and civilizations might try to exact revenge and do them as they did their ancestors, right? Yeah. That's the fear that people have, not understanding that no, all people want now is equality. Fuck what happened in the past. We just want to be treated as equal. You know what I'm saying? We're not trying, nobody's trying to fucking enslave you and beat you and torture you and do all that fucked up shit that your ancestors did. We just want equality, period. But that's the fear that they have. That's what the super far right, that's what the fear mongering is about. It's like, oh, they're gonna take over. And if they take over, they might do to us what we did to them. You know?
I don't know if it's that or if it's just that it is really hard to admit the fucked up shit that our ancestors did. Like, it is really hard to reconcile that, and like really hard to admit when you've been wrong. Because I was patting myself on the back after Obama got elected thinking, hey, we solved racism in this country, right? And then, you know, turns out clearly not. So it's really hard for go ahead.
No, I'm saying just the same way that you were patting yourself on the back for about, that's the same reason why you can't see the point that I was just trying to make.
Okay.
Is literally because you're so close to it. And I understand, bro, because you don't think like that. You're not like that. You're cut differently. And even the people that you know that are like that, you still don't think in your mind and your heart of hearts, you're like, well, they're not that evil. They don't feel that deeply. But we are starting to see, I think the movie Us, the Jordan Peele movie, have you guys all seen that? Was phenomenal, because you know the shadow people, right, underneath the ground, right? Yeah. They were made to be this dark entity, and they were supposed to be real bad and evil, right? That's how we viewed them. When in all actuality, I mean, that movie, you can interpret it however you want it, but for me, I looked at it like the people underneath, right? They freed themselves at the end. That was kind of like your subconscious, right? Like that was the shit that's buried deep within you. So yeah, they did some horrible, fucked up shit. But guess what? Those people on the surface, you know, they had the person under the ground that looked just like them, right? But the people on the surface, they were, you know, they had that white family, and they were doing all that. They seemingly wonderful family, but they were actually like, there was a lot of evil that was pent up within them, right?
Mhm.
I don't know if you guys remember the movie that well, but if you go back and watch that movie and you think of it as like, this is the subconscious that people have within them, and start understanding that, fuck, man, I'm about to get, I need to drink for this.
What's that movie again?
Us.
Us. Okay,
Us.
I haven't watched that yet.
I don't even want to get, because if I get into it too much right now, I'm gonna be.
No, that's okay. That's okay, man. Like,
I'm sorry.
We could talk for days. Look, trust me, this is a great conversation, but we can go talk for days for this. So let me move on to the next question, so that we can move on, right? All right. So this is another big topic. Oh man, you might talk along for this one. So, what do you think?
I'm getting off in 14 minutes. I'm going to eat dinner. I don't give a fuck.
Well, what do you think many people have misunderstandings about taking a knee? Wow.
like Colin Kaepernick and taking a knee.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So
I have
I'm
such
gonna
strong
be honest.
feelings.
I'm gonna be real honest. Okay, so look.
I hope you would lie
At first, right? Like probably a lot of people, I took offense to it. But then, when Kaepernick explained himself, and then I knew the whole story why he took a knee, because he consulted a Navy SEAL or whatever, and saying that the Ranger, and the reason why he was doing taking a knee was to highlight the injustices of especially with the police and minorities, right? From after that, then I wasn't angry at all. Period. I was like,
so you needed him to get permission from a white man to take a knee in order for you to understand.
No.
That's what I just heard.
No, when he explained himself, like, hey, this is why I did it. I'm taking a knee because of the injustices, blah 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 blah. Like, oh, okay, I understand. For me, I thought it was a disrespect about the flag, but it wasn't. It's like for a split second, like I was mad, I was angry about it. Then all of a sudden, I understood why I understood why he was taking a knee. Does that make sense? So my initial reaction of I felt disrespected was like a few seconds or a few minutes until I understood why he took the knee and said, yeah, that's the most respectable way of speaking about what you're trying to talk about. And so, anyways, I'm just being honest about that. At first I was angry.
Yeah, I think you'd be hard pressed to find too many, I say, Black Americans, even veterans and active duty. I mean, you'll find some. There's definitely the outliers. There's the Kanye Wests and the Candace Owens of the world, but you'll be hard pressed to find too many Black people that were upset when Colin Kaepernick took a knee. Explanation or no explanation, we knew what the fuck was going on. This shit hasn't just started. It's been going on for Black people. It's kind of like, I think now with this shit going on with the Asian American, the attacks that happen and shit, I think you're going to start seeing the Asian community being a lot more vocal, and you're going to start seeing a little more understanding. But this is shit that Black people have endured for hundreds of years. And so it's one of those things, like, there was no explanation necessary. I was actually mad that he said, I got the idea from the Army Ranger, because then it's like, oh yeah, you're using this, you need this man to justify it for you, when, sorry, brother, you don't need that justification, because guess what? They're going to still misinterpret your message no matter what. No matter how well you're trying to put it together and how well he constructed it, they still misunderstood it, and then it took BLM, activists and things that happened last year, and then some rioting and shit, and then people are complaining, and then you got people apologizing to Colin Kaepernick, and it's like, okay, I'm glad you're apologizing, that's cool and all, but fuck you at the same time, because it's like, what I'm saying, you didn't want motherfuckers rioting, acting a fool in the streets, what I'm saying, but you didn't want this man to do a peaceful protest either. So you're telling us, if it makes you uncomfortable or if you dislike it, then it's not right, and this more people just trying to control the narrative, and it's just more bullshit.
I think when it was presented to me, when I saw it, it was the media. The way they presented it, the way they talked. You know what I'm saying? If it was presented in media construe and take it out of context. And so, like, for me, being a sports guy, that kind of correlated too. When someone is injured, you take a knee. And so once I realized and I caught myself, why am I angry? And then all of a sudden, okay, now I understand. Now, you know what I'm saying? So
We gotta stop using media as a
caught me off
cop-out.
guard. Yeah, it caught me off guard for a second.
I for one had exactly zero problem with Colin Kaepernick from the start. To me, number one, it's his First Amendment right to do that if he wants to.
First off,
number two, and I think by this point in time, you'd already had Eric Garner and you'd had Freddie Gray, and of course the entire thing in Ferguson, Missouri. And I think Kellen, you and I had some
Brown, Tamir Rice,
Brown. We'd had some conversations about this shit.
We did,
and I was beginning to kind of try to understand it and try to look at things from the other perspective by that point in time. And I was like, you know what, man, he is not hurting anybody.
Right.
And if you're offended by this, then you are a thin-skinned, weak motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, our country is big enough to handle this. And I mean, it's a fucking piece of cloth. Get over it. All right. Like that is not what our country is all about. I thought that, Colin Kaepernick, and I think that his willingness to stand up for what he believed in really impressed me. Like, he lost his career as a professional football player because he wanted to stand up for something. I really think that somebody else might have signed him if they hadn't felt, oh, he might be a little too toxic to touch. Right. So I never had a problem with it. In fact, I got into arguments with people who were against it all the time. I every time they would talk about it on Fox News, it's like, oh, fucking eye roll. Like, to me, that kneeling thing was like the most innocuous thing he could have possibly done, and people are blowing it way out of proportion. Way out of proportion.
And we got to stop. I don't like the cop out that we give, like, oh, the media. Like, because as a person who was in the media,
right.
It's offensive when people are constantly blaming shit on the media. But listen, maybe you're following the wrong media then, right? And more than anything, the media it's a business. You know what I'm saying? And they're only going to put shit out there that people are going to respond to or react to, right? And some of these stories, if people didn't get all up in arms about it, then that story would just kind of go away. But because people get so worked up and shit, they're like, okay, I guess you guys want to hear about this, so we're going to give you more information on it. And guess what, though? You can still go back and look at the media shit, and you can see everything that you need to know to decipher, well, maybe I shouldn't be so upset about this. But just because the media is putting it out there for you doesn't mean you have to respond to it in a negative light. And that's what a lot of people did. They blew it up and they got all upset about it. But then the more you read about it, you're like, okay, like, this actually is, it's for a good cause. He is trying to bring it to light. And then they want to tell you, oh, he was a bad quarterback, and that's the reason why I got blackballed. But they don't realize his last season, he didn't even play a full season. He had 16 touchdowns and 4 interceptions on a terrible San Francisco 49ers team. So anybody that ever tries to argue with you and say he lost a career because he was a terrible quarterback, they're full of shit. 16 touchdowns and 4 interceptions on a very bad team.
And I wanted the Colts to sign him. Like, he was available. And I was like, come on, Colts, sign him. Just sign him. But, Indiana being Indiana, there's no way they were going to risk that.
That was not happening in Indiana.
Oh, I mean, if I did that, and, I'm very, liberal about that stuff. But, then how much more other people who don't have that understanding. So, what I'm saying, I'm just really being really honest about it.
That's real. That's real.
First. But, I'm going to tell you, go back a little bit further. Like, when we deployed, those of us who did deploy a couple of times, what was on the news on AFN all the time? Fox News.
They force feed Fox.
Channels? Always Fox.
They force feed Fox. Yeah.
So, like I said,
they'll have like 1 hour MSNBC, like 1 hour of CNN, and the rest of it's fucking Fox.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so you hear that. So I'm not totally blaming, but if I had that reaction at first, how much more people who look really into it, really into Fox and all that. So that's just
real.
I'm not saying it's totally media's fault, but it can happen. It's the same
Yeah.
thing with U.S. history. We don't know the whole context of like all of U.S. history, and then so you're biased. You're like, I don't know. I have no idea what that is, and so you're angry about it. Oh, I'm angry. Why? Blah blah blah. No, because Rosa Parks sat down because of not just she wanted to sit down. It's because she was being bombarded by sexual advances. Blah blah blah. Oh, I didn't know. Anyways, so if I had that reaction, how much more people? And till this day, even though they do understand the reason why he took a knee, they still are against it. So,
Right.
What else you got, man? What's next?
Okay, last one here because we're like 56 now. So, who is your favorite politician, either past or historical or current? So, I'll go first. My first black actual politician that I actually respected more, I didn't agree with all his policies, would be Colin Powell. Before Barack Obama. So Barack Obama probably my second. So Colin Powell. So leader, respectable. I think he got shafted because he was a Secretary of State at that, or Defense. What was he? Yeah, and then before that he was a 4-star general. I think he did what he did for his country, and of course when he got caught up, he bowed out. Remember he was the
he the Secretary of State because
he was Secretary of State.
Donald Rumsfeld was Sec Def.
Yeah, Austin is the first black Secretary of Defense we've had.
Yeah, he was one of the first. Yeah, one of the black politicians that I actually followed, respected, and thought he was a good mentor and he was a good leader. And he was very statesmanship, a statement. Like even though like his administration was like feeding him lies, he was like, well, I gotta do my duty. You know what I'm saying? He did it for duty and country, and when it was time for him to bounce out, like, see ya. You know what I'm saying? I'm done because this is some bullshit. I got caught up in it. Anyways.
Yeah. He was a Republican.
Yep.
He was a black Republican.
Colin Powell.
Now, I'll admit I don't know as much probably about the history of black politicians as I would like to, but I'm going to be honest with the person that right now, like, the first thing that came to my mind was actually Stacey Abrams. And like, I feel like she is, if the Democratic Party has any fucking brains at all, they will listen to that woman. She is a superstar. She did an amazing job organizing and getting people registered to vote down there in Georgia. And she is a rising star in that party. And I love that woman. I just love that woman. Like, she is amazing to me. And I think that, she has a great future ahead of her. And I think that she is somebody that we can look to for leadership to, number one, just advance greater equality in this country. And number two, just, she is a smart woman. She is amazing. So to me, like, Stacey Abrams is the person that I would say right now is right up there near the top of my list.
Cool. Abby, before we go to Colin, because I know Colin will be the last one.
I don't know.
Kamala.
It's, and I hate to admit this, because back then I was a very diehard Republican. I was a Republican since I turned 18.
We couldn't tell.
So I was a Republican since I turned 18. Every single person that I had voted for had been Republican, even though I had friends who would look at me and they're like, really? You lean more like a Democrat than you do a Republican. And a lot of it had to do, with my background. But anyways, I hated to admit it, and nobody will ever hear me say this, especially back then, but it was Barack Obama. The man could talk. Like, his fucking presidential, every time he spoke, when he would do the State of the Union address, I would sit there and I would just listen, and I'd be like, damn it. You know, I hated that I liked him. And and this was the Republican in me. This was the Republican.
He said, I hated it. I liked it.
Yeah, because, you know, it was really difficult for me. And I would nitpick him. That's how bad it was, because I liked him. So I would nitpick him to see, like, to justify me not liking him because he's a Democrat and I'm a Republican. And, you know, so now it's like, when he left office, and you had to wonder who was going to run. When I saw who the people were running for the Republican Party, I was all like, shit, I don't want any of them. Bring back Obama. Bring back Obama. Give him his third term. Give him his damn third term. Because I told my kids, his first 2 years when he had control of Congress,
Senate House,
it was good. And then ever since, you know, when the Republicans took back control, it became such a hard thing for him to be president and to try and put policies that would benefit the country as a whole, and not just one, you know, one sub part of the country. You know, so those were eye-opening things for me. So it made me question, was I just being a Republican because I was Catholic? Was I falling into the trap that I was one of those people who voted Republican because of one issue? And it wasn't even an issue that I really stood for,
cared about.
Yeah, I mean, but it was, you know, as a Catholic, I had to. But so it made me question myself. And then, you know, my kids were getting older and we were having debates at home. This is what happens when you have children with high IQ, and they make you question yourself, and they make you want to be not right, but want to be better, and want to know more. Like, why do you believe the way you believe? So by that time, I was like, by the time 4 years ago, I was just ready. I was ready to leave.
Yeah. I didn't know you're GOP. You didn't speak like a GOP.
Oh, yeah, I was, man.
All right, Killen, what you got?
Man, it's a tough one because there's so many good people. I mean, obviously, you can talk about Kamala. You can talk about Stacey Abrams, talk about Brock. These are obvious, you know, people. There's Cori Bush out of Missouri. Nina Turner, Ohio. I mean, there's a lot of great Black people. And you know, we got Melody Colbert-Keene, you know, who's in our comments. You know, Melody was actually the first Black mayor of my hometown, Joplin, Missouri. And I don't want to lie and say she's the first Black woman, first woman, but I know for sure she's the first Black person to be the mayor of Joplin. And so one thing I know, Melody and many others who run for political office who are Black, is they have to, from the beginning, in order to even get votes and to be there, they have to almost tone down their Blackness, you know? And I don't mean that in a sense of like they have to be fake, but they have to. White people aren't as accepting of Black people if we are as we are just in our natural form. So we always have to find ways to almost de-weaponize ourselves, because our Blackness is viewed as a weapon in so many ways. And they're like, oh, is this going to be the angry Black person? Is this going to be, you know? So we have to find a way to make ourselves relate. You know, I find myself in meetings. Yeah, first Black mayor. There we go. Melody Colbert-Keene of Joplin, Missouri, you know, and did a phenomenal job. And but the thing is, Black people are constantly having to, I deal with this in meetings, you know, and they'll ask us these icebreaker questions. And, and ask you, what's your favorite, what would be your go-to karaoke song or your favorite band or some shit, And if I go in there and tell them like fucking NWA, that's my shit, or some Tupac, you're going to have these people like looking at you crazy. So, I always go with Red Hot Chili Peppers. I really like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I fuck with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I fuck with the Arctic Monkeys. I got a lot of rock bands I fuck with for sure. But in order to make myself a little more digestible and not be viewed as, and this is something that y'all won't understand. And even some black people don't completely understand that because they're going to be like, well, fuck that. You're not being real. And it's not a matter of not being real. It's literally like, how can I make you understand that we do have some common ground? We have things that we can all relate to. And I want you to understand that I'm willing to work on those common grounds. And I'm also going to push some of this agenda from a black person in our perspective as well. And Melody said, we have to always seem like we have to make them comfortable. Exactly. We have to, and that's exactly right. We always have to make people comfortable. And so I got mad respect for all of these black politicians who run. And that's, again, we're in a country where at one point in time, these same people were enslaved because of our color alone, right? So the fact that they're in positions and actually being voted on by white people and in positions of power, I mean, that's just dope. And it's an example of just black excellence that's literally started from the bottom. Now we're here. And I just hate that I hate that we have to constantly make people comfortable. I like that Melody said that, because that's really what it is. And it's like, I need to watch the way I say this or whatever, because I might come off a little too aggressive or something. Whereas Donald Trump can say whatever the fuck he wants, and people are like, he's passionate, he's a truth speaker, he just says how he feels. And it's like, trust me, we like to say how we fucking feel too. Y'all just not ready to hear that. So I can't pick a favorite, man. I like them all. I think Barack, it's easy to say Barack, but Barack did a fucking phenomenal job in the fact that he held this position and he did it with dignity. He did it with grace. Yes. And he also did it from a compassionate place of love. And it wasn't just his words. I get so bothered when people, and I get it. Everybody says this. Everybody talks about, he's a great speaker. He's a great speaker. But you know what? He's also a person that his actions speak. Yep. He walks the walk. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like he's just giving you lip service. There's a lot of politicians that give you lip service, but that man, you could see it. You could hear it in his voice. He meant what he said, and he said what he meant. And you don't have to agree with all his politics. He's an empathetic human being. And that's what I dig. So shout out to all of them. And shout out to you guys for always coming on here every week and just talking this shit, man. I love you guys for that. So
thank you very much, guys. Man, happy Valentine's, everybody. We had a great, woo, deep conversation.
It was heavy.
Heavy. Black History Month, of course, all of the next 2 weeks. But of course, peace, love, and we love everybody. Everybody's point of view. I'm glad Phil is here with us today.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
I love. Yeah. Thank him. Everybody, give applause for Phil for coming in.
And
hopefully, you're welcome every Sunday with us.
All right, appreciate that. Great
perspective, and that's what we want here. It's diversity, perspective, right or wrong, agree to disagree. But I think we're all on the same page, and it's exciting to hear everybody's point of view.
Facts.
So facts, guys. Love you guys. Highway 54 Sunday. Happy Valentine's, everybody. Make some babies, or don't make some babies.
Abby, nice to meet you.
Shoot your shot,
Kelly.
please.
Shoot your shot.
And lube up if you're doing the anal thing. Susanna. We love you, Susanna. Clean your ass, guys. Clean your ass.
Oh, shit.
God.